humans. I'm just feeling rather inspired to do a live about a really important topic. I was going to write a post about it and then I was like, there's far too much to say for a post. So I'm going to do a live because I know that this is meant for someone and this is going to really, really support someone. And it really is just an expansion of my last reel and what I've just shared in my stories. I didn't plan on sharing this today, but I do think it's an important thing to talk about. And I very often get a reflection back to me, and this reflection really, really surprises me. The reflection from, I don't think it's a lie here. I love to shop. I love to go to shops. I love to go to market stalls, and I love to talk to the people that are selling the things, right? The whole buying, selling process is something enjoyable for me, whether I'm buying or whether I'm selling, okay? And recently I've been getting this reflection back from people, and they're like, you are always happy. Like, you're always happy. You're always happy. How are you always happy? You're always happy. And something that really, really shocked me was that the assumption that people have about joyful people is that they've somehow attained this state of infinite bliss, peace, joy, happiness, and that they never leave that state. And this is such a misunderstanding, and this is something that we really, really need to speak to. The reason that a lot of people think that I'm an extremely happy and joyful person is because I give permission, right, for my negative emotions to be JD, right? So a lot of, this happens a lot in Spain. You ask people, what do you want in life? And they say, to be happy. But happiness is a state. And because happiness is a state, it comes and it goes. And part of being human, right, and a joyful, happy human is being okay with all of the other emotions, right? The reason that I'm happy a lot of the time is because when sadness comes, or anger comes, or rage comes, I'm trying to think of feelings that I feel very often. Stress comes, right? Fear comes. I let it stay. And something remarkable happens when we allow an emotion. Hi Kate, hi Bene, hi Victoria. Beautiful Maisie Stacy, right? When we allow an emotion to come, right, and stay, and we're not like, I can only feel sad for 3 minutes, right? Or I refuse to feel my sad. What happens is that the emotion can complete its cycle, its circuit. That's how emotions work in the body. It's a circuit. So when you allow the frustration or the rage or the sad to be there, without making it wrong or bad or judging yourself or shaming and blaming yourself, which makes you feel even worse about having an emotional experience, which is normal because you're a human being. It's like it completes the circuit and the energy continues to flow throughout your body. Hi, Gabby, darling. So you're like, okay, I felt sad. I'm in the sad. The emotion has done the circuit. Right? The sad has been felt, the sad clears, the sad has gone. And that's all there is to it. But the problem is, when we think happiness is the goal, and we perceive happiness being the goal, meaning that we're failing the goal if we feel anything negative, right? The second you feel an emotion that's not fucking rainbows and unicorn farts and all of the fucking things, the second you go into shame and blame and you make your human experience wrong. What happens when we make an emotion and a human experience wrong is that we suppress that. So that emotion can't complete its cycle in the body. In other words, that emotion gets stuck. And here's the fucking thing that they should teach us at school. When we have a stuck emotion, that's stuck in the body, okay? A stuck emotion in the body creates dis-ease, tension, numbness, all of the things. But even greater than this, even more so than this, right? Even more so than this, it means that we hold that frequency in our body. And we are going to manifest and create more situations in frustration, in disappointment, in rage. So the body's like, please feel this so we can move it. And then we get pissed off at life, giving us another moment to experience disappointment. When if we actually allow ourselves to be with the disappointment, we clear the disappointment, we are no longer radiating in that frequency. So we don't need to attract any more situations to experience that and to fucking clear that from the body. So when people say to me, Han, you seem so happy and joyful, I'm just like, I want to be clear on social media, I'm not always happy and joyful. And I think there's a dangerous teachings around manifestation where we've always got to be high vibe. And you can manifest an incredible life and still be a human being. Like, that is an important nuance to this conversation. And I will repeat this for the end of time. Gabby's saying, I love it when you talk about rainbows and unicorn farts. I know, because that's how people talk about manifestation. It really cracks me up, babe. And yes, this is everything that I need to be reminded of right now. Yeah. And so the reason that I'm speaking about this, and kind of, when I got the reflection from people saying to me, Han, you're always happy, do you ever feel sad? Like, it was so shocking to me that someone would ask me the question of, do you ever feel sad? Right? Because I was like, in what reality do you think that humans don't feel sad? Like, what is the conditioning? What are the expectations that we're giving to people about life? And yes, when you do the work, you're going to feel more joyful more of the time as a byproduct, but it doesn't mean that you stop being human, right? It doesn't mean that you live in eternal bliss and peace. Shit happens, life happens, and that's not wrong. So anyway, when I woke up this morning, like I had a fucking day today. And I wanted to tell you about my day today, just so you guys can see I have days, right? Like days that you're like, and I'm still successful. And my business didn't fall apart. And I still make money. And people are still paying me. And I'm going to launch something today. And I woke up to reoccurring payments, like a few grand this morning. Simultaneously, feeling the feels. And so when we understand that we can have both, you're not going to stop shutting yourself off from receiving the good. Because this is another piece in manifestation. We're not feeling good, we're not being perfect, we've not fucking ticked every bloody thing of our to-do list, we maybe haven't exercised for a week, and we go into a state of I'm not worthy, so we stop receiving. Because we don't think we deserve it. People do this, oh, that wasn't a good discovery call, I don't want to sign that client because I wasn't at the top of my game, and you don't let yourself receive. Or you do a webinar or a masterclass series and maybe you give it 80% instead of 100%, and then you don't let yourself receive the final result because you're judging yourself. What is really great is to always receive. Can we feel the bad feeling? Can we have the human moment and still receive the blessings from the universe? How do we do this? We have to detach worthiness, right, with receiving. Worthiness with doing the things. Worthiness with being the perfect human that works out every single day and has washboard abs, as well as runs the multi-7-figure business, as well as every single coaching call they do is a master transformation. Like, it gets to a point where those standards are so high that you can't achieve them. And if you're anything less than that, you won't let yourself receive the good. So that's the next piece. I will answer your question in a second because that is a really good question. How do you feel the sadness and disappointment but also not get stuck in it? I can't even tell you how phenomenally great that question is, and I'm just going to put a pin in it and come back to it. And I want to tell you about my morning, okay? I'm launching a thing this afternoon that is really exciting. And in my head I was like, I'm just going to come on Instagram and tell people about my morning. It's not related at all, but I do think this is an important conversation to have. And I also think it's important as a leader to be transparent with life human shit, right? So we can transform our days in very, very small things. And when we're not feeling good, our initial impulse is to stop doing all of the things that make us feel better, right? I woke up bad, I didn't sleep well, I'm stuck in spiraling negative thoughts. Fuck it, the day's over. It's a write-off. I don't know how many of you guys do that. You start your day on the wrong foot, and then you just decide that the day is done. Like, it's a shit day, you're not gonna make any sales, business is gonna go shit, like, your partner hates you, like just any of the stuff, you're fat, like all the crap that we tell ourselves in our head, right? Now we can really, really, really shift something after we felt the feeling by changing the story in our mind. And I don't mean that you have a day that feels heavy and then you tell yourself, I am bliss and joy and happiness and ever-ending peace. Like, that's too big of a jump. Like, that's too big of a jump. But we can have thoughts that help us bridge where we're at to a slightly better feeling place. So for example, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you think something really nasty, like, you're hideous, no one's ever gonna love you, right? And I'm talking about these thoughts that we don't admit that we have in public, but like, sometimes our brain does this. Or you really let yourself go, you didn't work out this week. You bad human, you failed Tuesday. You failed the week. Maybe it might feel like a really big jump to change your inner dialogue from you're a terrible human to your body is the most beautiful thing that's ever existed on planet Earth, you know? Because sometimes we try to do that with our affirmations. And the jump's too big, you can't get behind it. But what you can say to yourself are things that are kind of in between that you can get behind, right? Your worthiness isn't attached to your appearance. Every single day, you are closer to who you were born to be. You're in a process of becoming, and you don't need to get it right every day. You're learning. What's the opportunity in this challenge, in this mess? What have you actually got to gain from things not going right, or as you imagined? And if that's not working, what you can start doing is using questions to loosen your negative dialogue and open you into a place of possibility. So let's say if I wake up and I'm having a thought that, this is for business owners, you know, you've messed up your business isn't working, you're not making the sales that you wish that you were making, right? Then you can just start inquiring through questions. And you ask yourself, because this is all a process of gaining awareness, who do I become when I tell myself that everything that I do in business fails? And you can sit with that and you ask yourself that question. Oh, I don't want to market things. I don't trust myself. I don't tell people what I do. I don't post on social media. I try to appear perfect to cover the mask of feeling insecure underneath. And you gain awareness of that thought pattern, that inner dialogue that you're having. And then you can shift it with one question. Who could I become if I didn't believe that was true? Who could I become if I didn't believe that I failed? Who could I become if I didn't believe that I was unworthy of love? And so instead of trying to put a positive affirmation in a brain that is feeling upset and frazzled, that they're in a process, what you do is you ask a question so you can start stepping out of possibility. And that's kind of like, it takes you from this stuck place, maybe emotionally, and it's 1 foot out. And there's no pressure for the emotion to have ended. There's no pressure for you to be in any state that you're not. But you're not in this cage of limited thinking, because sometimes we spend weeks, months, years stuck in spirals. And that's not a case of I need to process and feel the emotion. that's the case if I really need to look at the thoughts that I'm telling myself. Because this is the final piece to this. The thoughts that you tell yourself create the feeling. When we're in the feeling, that creates more thoughts of that same frequency. So if we're able to feel the feeling and do a practice to move it through the body, or just give ourselves the time that we need to be in it, and then it's like, okay, what's a new story I can tell myself? Or can I ask myself journaling questions to get myself into a place of possibility? Right? And actually, this is why some of the therapies that I teach in the School of IH are so powerful, because we do the feeling and then we anchor you into your becoming. We anchor you into where you're going, right? To answer that question that was so beautiful, we don't want to get stuck. And lots of people understand the feeling and emotional work as like, oh, it just means I should tell myself horror stories every day, all the time, because I'm feeling the feeling, I'm doing somatics. Like, that's not it. So I hope I gave you somewhat of clarity on this topic today. If not, it's something to think about, right? It's something to process. These therapies, the emotional clearings, the hooking into a new becoming, a new timeline, that's what I teach in the School of IH. It's those modalities. They've transformed my life. That's how I'm able, right? I kid you not, to wake up. I really did feel like shit this morning. I'm gonna be honest, I felt like a puffy little shit. And then at 1:30, which I think is pretty good, be here, being able to talk, and I've not suppressed anything, you know? I've been in it, I've allowed it, I've been aware of the dialogues that I'm telling myself, I've been aware of what the dialogues were making me feel and what the actions they were leading to, and I nipped it in the bud, and we shifted. Right? And that's something that's available to us every day. And the final thing that I wanted to say on this, and this is really what I wanted to speak to in the reel that I just created. We often think that healing has to be this huge, explosive, mind-blowing experience. But sometimes, right, healing is observing a thought that is scaring you, that is making you feel bad, that is not true, that is harmful to you, because thoughts become things, right? Dominant thoughts. It doesn't matter if you have one bad thought before you panic. And you shift it to a more empowering narrative. If you have the ability to watch a thought and simply say, I'm not available for that. That's not who I'm becoming. And you develop that level of mental, what's the word that I'm looking for? Mental mastery. That is a huge part of the healing work. Because the truth is, we can choose our inner dialogue. We can. And we shift that day by day, thought by thought. So anyway, this is something for you guys to think about, to ponder on. I am going to... Oh, hi Gina, darling. I didn't see all these people hop on. And I'm gonna jump on later, probably not live, but we'll look at doing the announcement, maybe 6, 7. We'll see. We'll see what time. It's gonna be really brilliant, it's gonna be really exciting, and it's gonna be speedy. It's gonna be here and then it's gone. So make sure that you are aware, you're looking, your eyes are peeled and you're clicking. We'll speak soon.